immediately rejected a defense request for a mistrial in the sex trafficking trial of music mogul Sean Diddy Combs.
It comes as the third week of testimony continues. The motion was requested as an arson investigator was on the stand testifying about a car fire at the home of another rapper.
Sean Diddy Combs, once hip-hop's ultimate mogul, a billionaire playboy, a kingmaker, now finds himself staring down a courtroom as shocking allegations threaten to destroy everything he built. Drugs, violence, freak parties, and claims of a criminal empire so dark it feels ripped from a Netflix series. For months, the world has watched as his exes, former employees, and even fellow celebrities stepped forward to accuse Diddy of terrifying acts. This isn't just drama anymore. With a federal trial, bombshell testimonies, and a verdict that sent shockwaves through the music industry, the question now isn't if Diddy's empire will fall, it's how much darker the truth really gets. This is the full story of how one of the most powerful men in entertainment went from Grammy stages to federal courtrooms, and why his verdict might just be the beginning of something bigger. Sean Diddy Combs wasn't just a rapper. He was an empire. Bad Boy Records, multi-million-dollar brands, friendships with presidents and billionaires. For decades, he seemed untouchable. But behind the music, the parties, and the fortune, a darker story was brewing, one that would eventually bring the House of Combs crashing down. For years, whispers about Diddy's private life followed him, rumors of controlling relationships, violent outbursts, and a world of excess hidden behind closed doors. But they stayed whispers until one woman stepped forward and blew it all open. In November 2023, the first crack in Diddy's empire appeared, and it came from someone who knew him better than most. Cassieventura, Diddy's longtime girlfriend and protege, filed a lawsuit that shocked even the most cynical observers. In it, she accused Diddy of turning her life into a nightmare, claiming he drugged her, beat her, and forced her into disturbing sexual encounters with strangers while he watched and filmed. She described being trapped in a web of manipulation, her career, her finances, even her medical records, allegedly controlled by one man. Within 24 hours, the case settled. Diddy's lawyers denied the claims, calling them a cash grab. But for many, the settlement felt like hush money, and Cassie's courage to speak out opened the floodgates. And as more women stepped out of the shadows, the walls around Diddy's billion-dollar empire began to crumble. Cassie's lawsuit was just the spark. Within weeks, the unthinkable happened. More women, former employees, even business partners came forward with their own stories. Allegations of abuse, coercion, and an empire built not just on music, but fear. One former assistant described working for Diddy as being trapped in a gilded cage. Another woman claimed she was drugged at one of his infamous parties. And then came the federal agents. The lawsuits weren't just bad press. They were a warning shot. Behind the scenes, investigators were piecing together a picture of excess, intimidation, and a lifestyle spiraling out of control. And what they would soon uncover shocked even Diddy's harshest critics. March 2024, Los Angeles woke up to chaos. Helicopters hovered over Sean Combs' $40 million mansion. Armed agents stormed the gates. This wasn't a music video. It was real life. Inside the house, what they found was straight out of a nightmare. Unregistered firearms, a stash of drugs, and over 1,000 bottles of baby oil scattered across rooms. Prosecutors later said these homes were more than luxury estates. They were playgrounds for exploitation. But the most damning evidence wasn't in a safe or hidden room. It was on tape. Security footage showing Diddy physically assaulting Cassie in a hotel hallway surfaced just days later. CNN aired it. The public was horrified, and Diddy's carefully constructed image as a mogul began to crumble. But for federal agents, sorry wasn't enough. This raid wasn't the end. It was only the beginning of their case against one of hip-hop's most powerful men. Capricorn Clark, once a trusted employee, claimed she was kidnapped at gunpoint and forced into a car after Diddy suspected her of leaking information. She described being held for hours as he interrogated her about a relationship with a rival. Then came Mia, a former personal assistant, who described random violent outbursts. She told the court Diddy once slapped her in front of a room full of people after she handed him the wrong phone. Even Diddy's longtime bodyguard testified, recounting the night he was allegedly paid $100,000 to help cover up surveillance footage of Diddy assaulting Cassie in a hotel hallway. That very video would later leak and go viral, fueling public outrage. For prosecutors, these testimonies painted a picture of a man who ruled through fear, using his wealth and influence to control not just his victims, but everyone around him. But the most explosive revelations weren't from employees. They came from the male escorts hired to participate in Diddy's infamous freak-off parties. Just when the trial seemed like it couldn't get any more shocking, the courtroom doors opened, and in walked Kid Cudi. The energy shifted. Even jurors leaned forward as the rapper, usually private and soft-spoken, prepared to drop a bombshell that would leave everyone stunned. Cudi's voice was steady, but his words hit like grenades. He revealed that in 2011, he and Cassie had been quietly seeing each other, but when Diddy found out, everything changed. "I got a call from Cassie," Cudi testified. "She was panicking, saying Diddy knew about us. I didn't take it seriously at first, until my house got broken into." Weeks later, Cudi said his car was engulfed in flames outside his home. Investigators found evidence of arson, a Molotov cocktail thrown through the sunroof. When asked if he ever confronted Diddy, Cudi said the mogul denied everything, but there was a moment that haunted him. Seeing Diddy stand by a window, hands clasped behind his back, staring out like a Marvel supervillain. This wasn't just a lover's feud. Prosecutors used it to paint a chilling picture. Diddy didn't just control women, he tried to intimidate and destroy anyone who got close to them. But if this was true, it wasn't the only time Diddy's wrath allegedly turned violent, because the next witness claimed she thought she wouldn't make it out alive. As shocking as the earlier testimonies were, they all led to one conclusion. This wasn't just about one man's violent outbursts or twisted relationships. Prosecutors alleged Sean Diddy Combs was running a full-blown criminal organization hidden beneath the glitz of his billion-dollar empire. According to federal agents, Bad Boy Records, his clothing brands, even his charitable foundations, were all fronts used to move money, silence victims, and protect his inner circle from scrutiny. They described how employees were allegedly enlisted to procure drugs, recruit escorts, and cover up violent outbursts. "He ruled with fear," one former assistant said on the stand. "You didn't say no to Diddy, not if you wanted to keep your job or your life." The charges were staggering: racketeering, trafficking, kidnapping, bribery. Each count carried decades in prison. And yet, despite the mountain of allegations, Diddy's legal team insisted it was all lies. A smear campaign designed to tear down a black mogul who had become too powerful for his own good. But as the government built its case brick by brick, the world started asking, was this the fall of a music icon or the exposure of a criminal kingpin? 7 weeks, 34 witnesses, hundreds of hours of testimony, and now the jury's decision would change everything. On July 2nd, 2025, Judge Aaron Subramanian called the courtroom to order. Cameras were banned, but those inside described a silence so heavy you could hear hearts pounding. Diddy hung his head. His mother wept silently. His attorneys held their breath as the judge read the penalties, each conviction carrying up to 10 years in federal prison. The mogul had dodged a life sentence, but he wasn't walking free. And outside the courthouse, crowds erupted, some cheering, others furious. His empire, once worth nearly $1 billion, now hung by a thread. Record labels cut ties, brands pulled endorsements, and more alleged victims victims started stepping out of the shadows. Sean Diddy Combs, once the ultimate symbol of power, luxury, and influence, now stands convicted, his billion-dollar empire in ruins. For decades, he shaped hip-hop culture and controlled every room he walked into. But behind closed doors, prosecutors say he controlled people too, through fear, wealth, and manipulation. World is watching. Will more victims step forward? Will Diddy survive what comes next? Or is this the final chapter of a story written in secrets and power? If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe.